I know that your parents were diplomats and you traveled a lot with them. Because of that, did you have a chance to be exposed to different kinds of music?
I was, but it was as a child, so you don't really realize that you're exposed to different. For you, it's normal to hear all kinds of different genres of sounds. And also the fact that Israel is a young immigrant country, there's so much mixture of culture there. So you hear different sounds and genres of music all the time anyway. So I think you can hear that in my music, at least the last album, that there's no real definition of what kind of genre of music it is.
But are there any genres of music that shaped you?
Yeah. I think blues and early rock and roll is what my parents used to listen to. They still have a very nice record collection. And that's what I think that's the bread and butter, the basics of my art.
And do you remember this groundbreaking artist or song that, you just heard it and it instantly inspired you?
I think the first time, I mean, you hear Dylan all your life, but in my 20s, I rediscovered both Dylan and Leonard Cohen, and to me, they are exactly what I want to be as an musical artist. So the first time I heard "Don't Think Twice, It's All Right" by Dylan, something in me changed, and I knew that that's what I want to do. Famous Blue Raincoat by Leonard Cohen is another song that the sincerity of it, the deep truth, the just bearing of the soul in front of other people was something so unique to me at the time that I knew that's what I wanted to do.
You learned animations, then you became a musician. What changed? What made that change in you?
It wasn't a voluntary change. I studied cinema and then I studied animation, and I really wanted to be a filmmaker for the rest of my life. And I was 6 years with a girlfriend that was also studying cinema, and together, that's all we did. And when we split up, when I was about 25, it just ended everything that I knew out of my so-called adult life by that time, because I was with her since I was 19 to 25, so that's all I knew of life. It was this very bad kind of spiral downwards motion. We split apart. I left my apartment. I left my job as an animator. And I really had nothing to grasp to, and I needed an immediate life vest, kind of like, those life wheels that boats have, and music was a way for that, because there's something about the creative process of music that's very different from film, which is it's very immediate. You pick up a guitar, you let out a sound, and it's almost Freudianic in the sense that you hear yourself speak these words and you can start digesting them again. So it was just a tool.
In that time, were you already a guitar player?
Not really. I had a guitar. I don't know why. My mom bought me a guitar when I was a teenager, and I still had it. But I knew about 3 or 4 chords, like most kids do. And when I started wanting to write songs to explain these feelings, I started using these 3 or 4 chords that I knew, and then very quickly there weren't enough. And I was lucky enough, it was 2005, so there was already internet. There was no YouTube, but you could go into the internet and look up how to play a chord. And so I just taught myself some more chords and some more chords. And then gradually, the only reason I'm still a guitar player, which I don't really consider myself a guitar player, but it's to be able to sing my own songs. So I kind of only know how to play my own songs.
While you were playing with the Mojos, you had a chance to record for major labels, but you chose to create your own label. Why did you do it?
As I said, I became a musician late in my life at the age of 25. I'm not one of those kids who really wanted to become... It wasn't my dream, and I didn't have any musician friends because of that. All my friends were animators. And when I started becoming a musician, and very quickly labels started to get interesting in sending me options for deals, I had the privilege of looking at these deals with a very fresh eye, with a very objective eye. And I read these deals, and I could literally not understand why anybody in his life or her life would want to sign that. I mean, they were taking so much and giving so little, and they were asking for so much control over what it is that you do, that I really decided that's not something I wanted to do. So until this day, I have my own label, which completes the whole record with the art and the master and everything, and I sign deals with Sony or Universal just so to be able to market it and distribute it, but they have no control over the artistic content.
You mentioned that writing music is like the open surgery. There is also a song setting scalpels free
Right.
at your album,
Right.
and the album is titled Different Pulses.
Right.
So there are so many medicine references.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Not only medicinal references, but there's a lot of physical references, which I love the use of. I don't do it consciously, but afterwards I read my text and I see that, the eyes turn inwards, the throat, I don't know, the people are opening their rib cages, and it might have to do with my personal biography that I had, my body wasn't working the way I wanted it, and I had to go through a lot of medical care, but I think it has to do more with the fact that I feel I need to use metaphor to reach people, because if I tell, okay, his girlfriend hurt him, who gives a f? But if I use it in a way that is a bit vague and is a bit beautiful in the way I tell it, the use of metaphor, I think people can reflect upon that and put their own individual experiences into that. And I think that's what good art should do.
Do you create a lot of music on tour as well?
Never. I can't. I wish I did, because 80% of the time I'm on tour, but I can't. I feel I've often said this, that I'm on tour, I'm absorbing, I'm like a sponge. I'm just taking in experiences and rides and it's like a roller coaster, and I don't really have time to sit down and reflect upon it. And that's why I go to that vacation every year or so. I call it a vacation, but I'm really writing the new album. But so I go there and sit near the beach and try to think and read books, and then things start to come out because you absorb as a sponge, and then just the water just comes out. So no, I don't write on tour.
I have to ask you about this. What do you think about covers and song interpretations, especially after the remix of Reckoning song?
I'm ambivalent about it, because if you asked me a couple of months ago, I would say I think it's completely wrong. It's killing our culture. It's raping our culture. All these shows, these musical instant reality shows are just regurgitating old songs over and over, and it's hurting the culture, because we're not leaving anything new for this generation of artists. But I have to say that a friend of mine talked to me about it, and she really tried to win me by the argument that all the music that I love, the old blues, the old jazz, old early rock and roll, were built on the fact that people were doing covers. That's how the Beatles started. That's how half of the blues artists started. That's how Nina Simone, that's how Janis Joplin started. People were doing cover songs. I think it's not wrong, but I think we should be careful if that's the only thing that we are creating. It's okay to have musical interpretations if they are truly musical interpretations, not just being done for commercial sake. So yeah. I don't really have a complete straight answer, but I'm careful of it.
You were in Poland before. Did you have a chance to see anything or meet any people?
Nothing. I mean, it's such a nice dream to think that, touring musicians, they get to see the whole world, but what we see is the hotel room and the backstage, and then we have to go on to the next city. I think I have like 2 hours to go out now, so I'm going to tear Szczecin apart.
Okay, so I wish you a great time in Szczecin and a great show tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.